Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Monday Night Raw review, for May 25th, 2015. Let me put it to you this way, guys. This episode absolutely sucked dick. There ain't nothing much to talk about here. I'll do a little bit of a rundown of this episode. Matches were good. Promos were absolutely horrible. Very childish. Nothing original. I mean, it was kind of a little bit out of the box, but in a very bad way, if you can believe that. So let's get things started off here, shall we? We have the Authority come out with Seth Rollins, the World Heavyweight Champion. He starts talking shit about how, Dean Ambrose is a thug and all this, and he's, one of the best world champions, and he should be looked at as a liked champion by the WWE audience, and how he thinks about, the fans liking Dean Ambrose over him kind of makes him feel a little sick in his stomach in a way. And then Dean Ambrose came out and started saying, all I ever hear you do is bitch, moan, and complain kind of attitude, so forth and so forth. And, Stephanie McMahon comes out, she says in this, while this promo going on, she mentions that he has to sign the contract, so why don't you come in the ring with all of us in here and sign it yourself? He goes ahead and makes a statement and goes, well, I'm not exactly the smartest or the most normal person in the world, so yeah, I really, I got nothing to lose. I'll go in the ring with all you guys there. And just listening to the words coming out of Dean Ambrose's mouth just made me go, what the fuck? Why would you say you're an idiot, say you're dumb, you don't have any intelligence? You would go in a ring with a bunch of people that, are more than willing to beat the crap out of him at one time. And there's about, I'd have to say, 5, 6 people at once that could destroy him at one time. So, I mean, the whole right there was just downright disturbing. It was dumb. Very ridiculous. So he comes to the ring. Roman Reigns comes out, and as he's getting to the ring, so Roman Reigns is on his side. What I really don't understand is why... there's word going around that they're still thinking about bringing the Shield back and everything else. And I don't have a problem with that. But Seth Rollins, I don't know. I think they could just bring the Shield back with Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose. I think that's what they really should go with. And just have a tag team instead of a faction with the Shield. I personally think that would be the best thing to do. They could, work as a unit for a while and then just split them two apart at that point once they've reached the point where they're getting to the point where they're going to go ahead and compete for that world championship, and only one of them can hold the belt at that point. So I think that would be the best thing to do. I mean, I did hear some other things, but I would just recommend you guys going ahead and searching that online instead of me just giving that away. Way to find out, JD from New York 206, he gave the idea and what he discovered online and what he read. So if you want to hear it from somebody else directly from their mouth, I would definitely recommend that. It's off the script episodes that he has. I just checked that out on his uploads, and you'll definitely find it right away because it's mostly recent. But anyway, getting off of JD, this is World of Wrestling, so we're going to stick with what we talk about here, and that's the Monday Night Raw review. Since this episode was absolutely horrible, I'll just go into some of the other details that made it horrible. So we go ahead, we get the announcement that they're going to have a match, Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose versus Seth Rollins and Kane. Funny thing is, they mention it is the main event, and they said they're going to start it right now as the first match. Now, someone clue me in. I always thought main event was the last match on the freaking show. But apparently, they've changed the rules on that and said main event is the first match on the opener of the show. So whatever they want to do, they want to change the rules, they want to, do whatever the hell they want and make it the way they want it to be. I guess that's okay since I'm not running it and neither is any of us are running it. So personally, it was downright retarded to say that was the main event, and that main event starts right now and everything else. At the end of the day, Dean Ambrose picked up the victory with the pinfall on Seth Rollins. Very interesting choice. Really liked the idea there. So that made up a little bit for the horrible promo that was produced by these guys involved. So very decent match. At the end of the day, Dean Ambrose picks up the victory, beating the Kane and Seth Rollins, and Seth Rollins was the guy pinned. But we all know for a fact that, Seth Rollins is going to walk away the World Heavyweight Champion at the end of the night of the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view. So regardless of what's going to happen in this episode or on SmackDown coming up this week, we all know that Seth Rollins is walking away a champion no matter what. That's just the way it's going to be. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So, we go ahead. We get Rusev in a match facing R-Truth. Of course, Rusev beats R-Truth in 1 minute. No brainer. That was... I don't even understand why the fuck they even did that, but whatever. So, they go ahead. After the match is over, Rusev grabs a microphone and for some strange reason is begging for Lana back to be with him. In the first place, he knocked her off off of him. He didn't want her anymore. So why in the world would he beg her back like a pathetic worm? I mean, this guy was looking like a real badass heel, and now he's looking like a Seth Rollins, and he don't look anything like a Seth Rollins. He's a big buffed guy. He looks pretty muscular. He's strong as an ox. And he really looks like a Bruno Sammartino type of look. And you give this guy that kind... You go ahead and you made him look that badass. And then he faces John Cena, has some good matches. And then after he loses to John Cena in an I Quit match, you're going to make him look like a pussy begging for Lana back? The same woman that went ahead and cost him the match? Makes no logical sense. So he goes ahead, he asks her to shake his hand, and all is forgiven. Let's forget about the past and move on with the future as a team. Okay, so they shake hands. Then he goes to the next step of telling her to say 3 words saying, I was wrong. Saying it was all her fault that he lost his match. Okay, you got your point. You may have said I quit in Bulgarian, but nobody knew you were saying that, and she cost you that in return. Okay, so, she was supposed to be on your side, not helping John Cena get the win, and apparently that's what she did. So, it doesn't make any logical sense. And why would he ever beg her in the first place? You knocked her out of being a team together, now you want her back. It makes Lana look good, makes Rusev look bad. And in all retrospect, they had it the right way. Have Rusev kick her off of him, have her go to somebody else, him not being too concerned about it. Maybe beat the shit out of Dolph Ziggler anyway, just for the fact that he's messing with a woman that he was dealing with, that he was with in the first place. And that's it. But making him beg for Lana to be with him just logically doesn't make any sense. So, in reality, this was dumb as shit. Waste of 10 minutes of people's time, ranting and raving. Okay, so we finally get that bullshit out of the way. Then we get some more bullshit involved with this episode. We go backstage. Renee Young's asking him, you think you'll be able to get to sign the contract before the show's up? Because you have until the show to be able to sign it for the match to be official for you to even compete for the World Championship. Of course, his attitude was, yeah, of course I'm going to be able to do that, and yada yada yada. Then out of nowhere, the two goon bags, J&J Security, pop out of nowhere and are stating, "Oh, well, we got the contract right here, and well, whoops, we don't have a slap me in the head and call me Sally." And he goes ahead and calls him Sally and slaps him in the head, and he's beating the shit out of both Joey Mercury and Jamie Noble. And then out of nowhere, the cameraman gets punched in the face by Dean Ambrose. Supposedly, he accidentally went ahead and hit Dean Ambrose. As you'll find out later on in the episode, Seth Rollins shoved him from behind just so that he could get him arrested. Okay, so he gets arrested later on in the show, and then after he gets arrested, we go to commercial break, we come back, and you got a freaking audience of all the authority members standing by the police station wagon for him to be, driven out of the arena. What? You were just standing in the freaking back locker room saying that you're being arrested, and then what did they do? Follow him as he's being walked and got there before he did? I mean, come on, man. This was just so fucking bizarre. Totally out of whack. Made no fucking sense. Promo-wise last night, it was absolutely horrible. There was nothing intriguing about the promos. The matches were decent, but the show as itself, the story that went on with it, was just... it was crap. Absolute garbage. Waste of fucking time. That's all there has to be said about this episode. Moving on with this retarded lame-ass episode, we get Ryback facing King Barrett. King Barrett loses to Ryback in a very decent, okay match. I'd say about 3 out of 5 stars. Just to give you a little insight about the other 2 matches before that, the tag team match with Dean Ambrose and Roman Reigns defeating Kane and Seth Rollins, I give that a 3.5 out of 5 stars. The Rusev versus R-Truth match, I would say that's a dud. I didn't even care for it. They could have went without it and just had the promo and wasted our 10 minutes of time and then go about their business, or just completely knock Rusev completely out of the show and not even have him involved. So Ryback and King Barrett had a decent, okay match, and Ryback, of course, won. Again, as I said, 3 out of 5 stars. Neville versus Stardust. Neville wins the match. What a fucking waste of time. Stardust is going nowhere. He's like in La La Land. Cody Rhodes needs to become himself Cody Rhodes. He was going somewhere with this character, and then they switch him to Stardust like his brother, and he's going in Nowheresville. This guy has been hardly doing any major matches. He hasn't done anything special at all. Maybe the only good thing he's had in the last several months is the match that he had with John Cena for the U.S. title, which was, I believe, last month. And of course, we all knew how that was going to end anyway. So, personally, I think that was a complete waste of time. Sheamus and that match was actually, I'd say a 2.5 out of 5 stars because it was pretty short. The Stardust, it's not Neville's fault the match sucked. Neville did excellent. That's the reason why I got 2.5 out of 5 stars. But Stardust is not working. They need to switch his character. He's out of his fucking gourd. He makes no logical sense whatsoever on this show. He's just a fucking retard. Sheamus and Dolph Ziggler, great match. They've had some series of good matches with each other, but unfortunately, there's not been one match that made Dolph Ziggler go over, which is bad. I don't like the idea of that. Rusev came about, interfered in the match, and Dolph Ziggler kicked Rusev in the face, but then Dolph Ziggler ate a brogue kick by Sheamus and lost the match to him. Good back and forth action, very entertaining overall, but the ending result was the same as always. I don't even count the match that he won at Extreme Rules, Dolph Ziggler, because at the end of the night, he was getting his face shoved in Sheamus's ass. So, I mean, and he wasn't even kissing it. So, personally to me, I didn't even count that as a win for Dolph Ziggler. So, he's had 2 series of other matches that he hasn't even won. He hasn't gone over not one time, in my view. I mean, the match he had at Extreme Rules, he won, but he didn't go over. So, I don't know. I think that's really horrible to do to Dolph Ziggler, to not at least one time have him go over on Sheamus. But, hey, you know, that's their choice. That's what they want to do. Me, I'm just speaking my opinion. I don't think it's good for business, for WWE. I think it's very bad. I think what they're doing to Dolph Ziggler is hurting him, not helping him. Next match. We had the Entourage team from the movie that's coming out that had a TV show on HBO. They had some confrontation with Stephanie McMahon and Triple H. Thought it was a little bit funny when they spoke about Ronda Rousey with Stephanie McMahon, and she got pretty pissed off about that. But yeah, it was pretty hilarious. Then they eventually go ahead and have a segment with Zack Ryder, where eventually he gets on the show with John Cena for the United States title. Great idea. The Nassau Coliseum is being torn down. So, I mean, this was a great idea since, Zack Ryder comes from that area in Long Island, New York. So I totally agreed with the decision on making Zack Ryder be the guy to compete for the U.S. Championship match. Overall, oh yeah, and I did forget to mention the stars on Sheamus and Dolph Ziggler. I do apologize, so give me 1 second to go back for a few moments. The Sheamus-Dolph Ziggler match, I give it a 3 out of 5 stars as well. Just specifically, mainly because of the fact of the interference by Rusev. If it wasn't for that, it definitely would have been a 4-star match, because it was pretty exciting stuff overall. John Cena's match with Zack Ryder. Good stuff, a lot of good action. Once again, John Cena is proving, even though, yeah, the fans may not like him so much, he is using a role that's good for him at this point in his career. He's helping superstars become better, giving legitimacy to the United States title, and that's what the U.S. title needs, and they need to do the same thing with the IC title eventually. I don't think that they need to unify those belts. I think they should be separate entities. Like the U.S. title is the new version of the European title, only better, and the Intercontinental, being the Intercontinental Championship, as always in WWE, should be important as well. So I think that would be the best thing that they could go with. This match was definitely a 3 out of 5 star match. Could have been a little better if it was longer. What was really awesome is after the match, they celebrated. Zack Ryder went off up on stage, and Kevin Owens came out of nowhere and did his beeswax on John Cena, kicking his ass and powerbombing him straight to hell. Awesome build on Kevin Owens, making him look stronger and stronger. My only fear is Kevin Owens going to walk out the winner between him and John Cena? Because I don't particularly want to see John Cena win this match because of how strong Kevin Owens is doing in NXT and how well they're putting him together against John Cena. So, personally, I don't think that this should happen. I think this rivalry needs to continue somewhere down the line this year between John Cena and Kevin Owens. Be revisited. Because this definitely needs to be left open. I think it's going to bring a lot of intrigue to people at the end of this year, because as we all know, December is really kind of a dull time in WWE's pay-per-views. There's not a whole lot to go on. So me personally, this would leave a good main event match for December's pay-per-view. I think that if they bring him up after the Survivor Series pay-per-view, I think that would be the best idea they could go with at this point in time for a main event match for TLC. But that's not up to me. That's up to Vince McMahon's retarded mind to do that. Anyway, moving on with this shit. Tamina and Paige. Tamina defeated Paige, and that was a dud. I didn't even fucking care about this match. Complete waste of time. Tamina's looking stronger than Naomi, and she ain't even a Divas title match. Makes a lot of sense. Instead, it's Nikki Bella, Naomi, and Paige competing for the Divas Championship. Completely fucking dumb. But, hey, you know what? I don't give a fuck about the women's division right now at this point. If you want to check out real women's division wrestling, check it out on NXT. Check out the TakeOver pay-per-view that just recently occurred on May 20th, and you will see real professional women's wrestling and see what real women can do inside of a ring. This shit, nothing. You can't do squat with this. You can't use this as saying, oh, give divas a chance. What you can see on NXT is something you could use as saying, hey, women can wrestle, women can produce a good show as well as men, and this pay-per-view that just recently happened on NXT proves that. The next match, that was a dud actually for the women's title, or the women's match. The New Day, the New Suck, they suck big time, defeated all 5 members that are involved in this tag team match by disqualification. And I didn't even watch this match. I skipped over it. I didn't even care. So, they walk away with the win. Tyson Kidd and Cesaro, they actually looked good, I guess. I don't even know if... whatever. This whole setup is weird. Anyway, yeah. This whole thing is just garbage. There are a few good tag teams involved in this Elimination Chamber. For the tag titles, I see New Day walking out as tag team champions. That's just my early predictions. I will definitely give that video. I will do that video sometime this week before the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view occurs. But yeah, New Day walks away with the victory. That is the very last match on the show. At that point, they would go on to end the show with a fucking dumbass promo as they started off with in the beginning of the show. And, you know, they go ahead, they do the spiel, they say, oh, Seth Rollins is not having a match at the Elimination Chamber, and there you go. He's with nothing. Roman Reigns comes out of nowhere. He starts coming down. He starts trying to beat the shit out of all of the members of the Authority. He kind of gets worn down at some point. And then out of nowhere, they're trying to make him look like fucking Stone Cold Steve Austin with Dean Ambrose. You'd think if they're trying to make Dean Ambrose like Stone Cold Steve Austin, which he is totally not. He ain't nowhere near Stone Cold Steve Austin's persona, his character, the way of thinking that they made Stone Cold like in WWE back in the day. He is nowhere near that. He comes out in a fucking... he acts like... You know, he comes out in a fucking... same truck that he's put in when he's handcuffed. Supposedly, they claim that he stole the freaking police car, or police truck. He's wearing a police suit and a hat with one of those billy clubs. And I'm just saying to myself, one, how did he steal the damn thing? How did he get the handcuffs off? And technically what he did this time around was a crime, so why wouldn't he be arrested this time, if anything else? This was completely insane. Utterly and completely insane. It came out of the mind of a person with Down syndrome. Okay, no offense to any disabled people with Down syndrome, but seriously, actually, to be honest with you, it's worse than that. I think a person with Down syndrome could come up with something better than this shit. This was just fucking utterly retarded. This was a way of saying, Vince McMahon saying to his WWE audience, see, you're a bunch of idiots and you'll buy into this shit. I'm sorry, but Dean Ambrose, they're trying to make him look... Last night, they tried to make him look like Stone Cold Steve Austin. And let me tell you, if they did that back in the Attitude Era, I think everyone would look at Stone Cold and say, "You suck." Okay? This was utterly disgusting. One, they messed up. I think they were messing up Dean Ambrose's character. I think it was utterly ridiculous. He manages to beat the shit out of all the members of the Authority, Roman Reigns, with billy clubs. With Roman Reigns as well. Roman Reigns got a billy club from Dean Ambrose. And he signed the dotted line to be officially part of the match with Seth Rollins for the World Championship. Someone please tell me what the hell this is? I mean, this was utterly felt like... This episode should have been called The Insult to People's Intelligence. Not to mention they do this on a regular basis anyway, but this was the ultimate insult to people's intelligence. I mean, it was just disgusting. Straight up. This episode is absolute garbage. There was a few good, decent matches, but overall, it was a complete and utter fail of an episode. Just because of the logic that was put behind this. This was just disturbing. How people could buy into this. Dean Ambrose steals a police truck. He's wearing a police suit. He has 2 billy clubs. And he's wearing a cop hat. And the announcing team, Booker T, is like, "Oh, there's a sheriff in town." What? He just stole a fucking police car and all that. Where the hell did you ever see Stone Cold Steve Austin steal a police vehicle and then drive it into the arena? Never. Not once. Have you seen him drive in with a fucking beer truck? Yes. Has he done he drive in with his own vehicle, like a monster truck? Yeah. Those things made... It wasn't like an insult or a slap to people's intelligence. This was just downright dumb. Fucking dumb as shit. Overall, 3 good matches. The rest of it was garbage. Promos were absolutely horrible. And me personally, I think that this was just disgusting. But anyway, that's my opinion. I want to hear your opinions. I want to hear what you guys have to say about this episode. So leave your comments and opinions down below on this video. I do appreciate your time taking a look at this video and watching. I hope you enjoyed my rant on it. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button and have a great night, guys. Bye.